Leave in that area too?
I know, but my buddy has his nut business in Columbus, Ohio.
I don't want to hear what that's about. Obviously, you're a frequent flyer, I imagine.
Well, listen, if you ever... Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. We got Alex Pal from Pal Property Solutions with us on the show today. We're talking everything. Flipping, we're talking in Hamilton, we're talking hoarder houses, we're talking collecting rent with M16's in Ohio. You don't want to miss this. Smash the like button. Make sure you watch the whole video and comment down below. Enjoy. Alex fucking Pal. What's going on, my friend?
Yeah, everything's going on.
So Alex and I have known each other for
7 years? 8 years?
I don't know, whatever. I got Alex into real estate as a real estate agent. He was already an investor. I am responsible for him being married and for his beautiful children.
Yeah. Actually,
just
today,
not directly responsible.
Today is our 5-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
And Tuesday, our oldest just started kindergarten. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
There you go. I'll put that feather in my hat too. Alex met his wife, his current wife, I don't know about his other wives, on my real estate team, and they broke the no fraternization rule.
Well, you know, it's hard not to on the Loeffler team. Everyone's so excited.
Anyways, you seem excited today.
Yeah, no, it's a good day, man. We've got lots of good stuff going on. Business is going great. Yeah, we just got one of our flips on the market today on the Hamilton Mountain. So
you're still flipping in Hamilton?
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that's what we're talking about first. Let's talk about flipping in Hamilton, because that's how you got started with buying duplexes. You had a rooming house in Hamilton.
St. Catharines. St. Catharines was the rooming house.
Oh, but you had a place on the Hamilton Mountain you were renting by the room.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, that was the very first property I ever bought.
Yeah, that you lived in.
And that was the house hack. I don't know. A rooming house to me is like where you have like a 20 rooms and then that's a rooming house. But we actually did a rooming house conversion to a legal eightplex in St. Catharines, which was awesome. But yeah, the first property I ever bought, I lived in it, house hacked it, and I rented it out to 3 guys that were just like young professionals as well. And
well, I remember you kind of had like a homeless guy there at one point, didn't you? Like, I don't know. Kaylee just said there was a guy there that smelled.
Well, they're guys, you know. It's kind of a bachelor pad. It wasn't the best place to bring a new girlfriend at the time, but I remember.
I mean, she stuck around, so
yeah,
that's.
I lived in the living room, and the front foyer of the place we turned into a closet. Well, I turned into a closet. I called it my walkout closet because you could literally leave the house through the closet. Anyway, side note. But yeah, I had some experience, obviously, before joining your team.
But yeah, so you bought that. You lived in it. You basically lived for free.
No, I was getting paid to live there.
You get paid to live there.
Yeah. I was like, but, you know, those were different times. I bought for $186,000 on the Hamilton Mountain.
Yeah, but I think you could still, like, you could get relatively close.
I think so. I tell every young person who's moaning about how they can't afford a house, live 2-3 years under your means. You don't have to have a 1,500 square foot house all to yourself when you're only using 20% of the square feet of the house. Capitalize on the rest of it, live there for 3 years, and those 3 years will set you up for the most massive success into your dream home down the future.
Well, I say this multiple times. I go, you don't need to own where you live.
Yep.
You could rent a 3-bedroom house in Hamilton and rent out a couple rooms at $1,100 and literally just live on for your utilities.
Totally.
If you don't have those, right?
Yep.
Or you're paying $500 a month, and you could take the money that you're saving and go invest in somewhere more affordable.
100%.
Or save up to buy something and then house hack that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never be able to buy a home. I hear that a lot. And it's just like, well, maybe not in Oakville.
Yeah.
Right now.
Or maybe if you've told yourself that, then for sure not, because you're never even allowing yourself to open your mind enough to allow potential possibilities to come into your horizon.
That's right. Like if you rented, like, I don't know, I rent my property in Oakville right now. It's a 4-bedroom. Mm-hmm. If I really wanted to, I could probably live in the basement, and I could rent out the other rooms at like $1,200 a pop.
Totally.
And live for free.
Well, I remember when I bought my first house, I was, the people around me were buying these monstrosities, like 3,000 square foot houses in Kitchener, Cambridge, these areas. And You go to their house. They're in the kitchen. They're in the living room. They use the master bedroom, the bathroom, powder room on the main floor. The basement is unfinished, untouched. They don't use their dining space, which is a separate room. They don't use 2 of the bedrooms upstairs. And you're just like, you're mortgage poor, and yeah, it's great. You can showcase a beautiful property, but if you actually were to stretch yourself out a little bit and increase your earning potential, your house has the capacity to do that in all respects.
100%.
Yeah.
And you're paying down your mortgage.
Yeah.
And you're getting equity appreciation.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. But alas, this is why your channel exists, to help
well,
educate
and here's the thing.
masses.
You lived in Hamilton but worked out of Kitchener.
Yeah.
Or up around that way, right?
Well, because I was actually working at U.S. Steel at the time.
Okay.
I was working at the wastewater treatment plant at U.S. Steel, and so I was looking actually initially in Cambridge, and the duplex that I bought after my first purchase actually was in Kitchener, and I went through the legal duplexing process by myself, and probably lost like 2 years of my life during the process. And
It's okay. You were young.
yeah.
Life didn't matter as much back then. You wouldn't do that now.
Oh no.
Because you're old now.
Yeah, old and frail.
I was going to say, never mind.
Yeah, but honestly, it's that kind of set me up for the snowball effect that was going to happen. It's kind of incremental steps. I know some people, there are people out there that do these massive leaps when they get into certain businesses. They just find good opportunities that end up scaling them. I seemingly trudged through the swamp a little bit more.
Well, that's because you're an engineer.
Exactly.
You have to
I had to
analyze
figure
everything to
exactly
the
how it
nth
was supposed to
degree,
go.
and yeah.
But now I have a conversation, I can speak the lingo of every single trade guy you can name, and I can help troubleshoot a lot of the problems. We have a construction company as well, so we do a lot of that kind of stuff for, conversions and things like that. So it's useful to know, but it all started with real estate investing.
All right, so let's just talk about some of your recent deals. So you got that flip in Hamilton.
Yeah.
I always love talking numbers with you because you know bang on. And we have one of the most popular videos on this channel is actually walking through your former Hoarder House in Hamilton. The cheapest house in Hamilton is the label of the thing, and we'll link it so you guys want to go back and watch this from a couple years ago. But it's one of the most popular. It's still viewed.
Yeah.
I still get 40, 50 views a month on it.
It's because of my face. Not so much the
You're not on
information.
the, you're
It's my face
you
that people want.
I actually don't think you appear in the video. Which is probably
you just
why.
took all credit for it. Mark's cheapest property in Hamilton. I'm just cut out of the screen the whole time.
100%.
Yeah. There you go. So the flip, we actually bought this place on the Hamilton Mountain. This came to us through our marketing. We had the sellers, they had bought a property in BC. And this place was really bad hoarder situation on the Hamilton Mountain again. They bought a place in BC. They had already extended that deal 3 or 4 times. They thought they could get the money together. They couldn't. So they were going to lose their deposit on that, which was like $80,000 or something. They needed to sell quickly. They didn't have any sort of options. We ended up picking this thing up. And the other thing they needed us to back rent it to them because they weren't able to move into that place yet. So we had to rent it to them for 6 months. This is a not conventional deal. This is typically, you're not going to get a buyer on the MLS who's going to do that kind of thing. It's just not going to happen. But we picked this thing up for $475.
Okay.
In the Quindale area.
Yep.
So we
and that average price there is $600.
Average price there is $7.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm talking Hoarder House.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So fair market value would it be
$575, $600.
Yeah. So we bought it for $475.
So it's funny. We just had Michael Lee on last week, and he talked about that he needs $100,000 difference. And yeah.
It's almost like you can't touch it otherwise.
Yeah.
There's too much volatility right now. You got to be protect yourself too, right?
Yep.
So anyway, $475 we bought it. I had budgeted $100,000. We actually came in under. We came in at about $75,000 all in. So we're in it for $5,000.
And $25,000 that was junk removal.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Well, how do you budget when you don't even know what's beneath it?
It's hard. Honestly.
I mean, you want to overestimate, obviously,
you're
right?
Kind of throwing a dart because the second you pull off the garbage and then the whole thing's mold. It's like how much remediation do you have to do? What's the attic look like? Anyway, it's a whole can of worms. But anyway, these are pleasant surprises.
Yeah.
$25,000 under budget, so we're in it for $550. Let's say with closing,
call it $600.
Call it $600. We're now on the market for $850. So
today it went on the market.
Today it went on the market.
So what we'll do is, because this won't come out for a couple weeks, we'll put a link down there. You can make a comment to what you actually sold it for.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be happy to. So that's the one we're doing right now. We just sold our first flip in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, so you're flipping there, because I know you were doing value add.
Yeah, so my long-term strategy is not flipping. My long-term strategy is buy and hold. I prefer to keep what I buy. But it was, you need a proof of concept. And also financing is a little bit more challenging in the U.S. So
right now it is, yeah.
It was create my power team. How do I figure out what areas are good to invest in? So we found one in Walnut Heights in Columbus off of these wholesalers. And there, like the real estate agents have full wholesaling businesses.
Yep.
It's wild. It's awesome. So I connected with some good folks. But I bought a property, never met the agent who sold it to me, renovated the whole thing without meeting the contractor who renovated it. Did the pre-sale kind of inspections with the agent who also is part of the initial team who we got it through.
Yeah.
Never met her, just virtually, obviously. Sold it, and we netted just over $20,000, and I've never seen the property.
What was the time frame on that?
3 months.
3 months.
No.
Okay.
But you know what?
I mean, you're talking about what? What was the buy on that?
It was $186.
Okay, so that's pretty expensive for Ohio.
Yeah, well, Columbus is a little bit more.
I don't know. I've never looked.
Yeah, it's like I like Columbus. It's like even during this uncertainty with interest rates going up in the U.S., especially, a lot of U.S. states have gone down in price. Columbus actually went up by 7% year over year.
Okay.
So very promising to seeing what's happening in Columbus. That's why I want to buy and hold there.
Well, it's funny.
I believe in that area too.
I know, but my buddy has his nut business in Columbus, Ohio.
I don't want to hear what that's about. Obviously, you're a frequent flyer, I imagine.
Well, listen, if you ever go to Walgreens,
yeah.
Any of the finished nut products, so if they have chocolate on them, the roasted or whatever, that he makes them. He makes all like the white label stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's his business in Columbus, and they took 3 plants from the United States, from one in Florida, I forget where his other one was, and amalgamated this into Columbus, because Columbus and Ohio was so business friendly that they gave him so many incentives, and he's like, for sure. So like they went from 100 jobs to like 350 jobs in that one spot in Columbus. But you just want to make fun about nuts, eh?
Yeah.
You're a child.
Totally. I do have a prediction.
What, these nuts? What?
These nuts. If you think of AI right now, automation that's happening, you look at the kind of the tech war and the GDP war between China and the U.S., I think that there's obviously going to be a major incentive for Americans to start bringing stuff back home. If they can automate it, why do you need to pay somebody in China to do it if it's automated anyway?
Well, and it's the transportation, right? Like there was that huge block up at the ports on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, like, and it's like, well, never everything's on demand too, right?
Yeah, I heard this phrase too. It used to be just-in-time delivery. Like the Walmarts kind of all communicate with each other, but now it's just-in-case delivery. That's why warehousing is going to be so popular. You see it already with self-storage. It's crazy popular. However, if you look at that whole corridor below Lake Erie, you look at what's happening in St. Thomas with the Volkswagen plant. You look at in Windsor what's going on with the battery plant that they're creating.
Tesla, yeah.
Yeah, so if you and then you see Detroit has a bunch of infrastructure that is just sitting idle, doing nothing. Obviously, a lot of it's going to have to be refurbished.
Have you ever been to Detroit?
I know, but still, I'm just saying.
I get it. I'm
it's
just
got
joking.
This whole area there. And it's
the Rust Belt, yeah.
Yeah, and you look at, from Detroit, Toledo, Columbus, at the bottom there.
Good old Buffalo.
Cleveland, go up to Buffalo. Like, these areas that really got hammered in the 70s when everything else moved, I think that I would like to imagine that this area is going to start to see resurgence. And look at what's happening with Columbus. Intel's got their plant there. It's going to be the largest semiconductor factory in all of North America in Columbus, Ohio.
I thought they went down south too, in like Louisiana or something.
They might have.
Okay, I don't know. They have a couple of plants because that's the one thing. The new chips, they can't produce them off outside, or they can't produce them in China.
Well, Taiwan is also like a wild card too. So Taiwan, the semiconductor factory that's there also moved one of their divisions into the U.S. too, just in case shit hits the fan. So, but anyway, fundamentally it's very exciting, everything that's happening there. I just see this potential for growth, and also real estate incredibly affordable. I'm getting opportunities in Cleveland, like 2,500 square feet Victorian house, $18,000.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it takes $100,000 to fix it, and then it's only worth $75,000 when it's done. But still, like
great opportunity.
18,000. It's crazy.
And do you have to collect rent with an M16?
Well, there are places I'm talking to. Like, obviously, we're networking with different property managers. They'll strap on, like, that's weird.
They put their strap-on on? We're talking about these nuts and strap-ons?
They'll
Jesus.
go in the straps.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, well, listen, you brought that one
Listen,
up.
any other guest that comes on, this never happens.
Every single podcast it veers into the
when you go?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, it's very exciting. So I'd like to get into larger multis down the U.S. However, I'm still figuring out the finance side of it. To make sure that you can get funding, because as a foreign national, it is different. We are incorporated in the U.S., but still.
Well, so I know it used to be that you owned 3 or 4 properties cash down there, then you could go to a community bank. But those community banks are now reeling a little bit because of what happened at Silicon Valley Bank. So they're tightening lending, which kind of reminds me of the 08-09 period. That's why real estate contracted. Nobody was lending on real estate. They decimated the whole market, the real estate market. That's why all these Canadians went down with lines of credit on their house up there, and they said, "Oh, listen, we can still get financing on our stuff in Canada. Yeah, let's buy U.S. real estate."
Yeah, I heard Scott McGillivray, one of his things I heard once. He's like, "Yeah, I went to the U.S. during the 08 crash." He's like, "I had intentions of buying like 1 or 2 properties. He's like, I bought like 30." Yeah, I would love to have known what I know now, and being able to do that then.
You were like 15 then.
I know, but still, still staying.
I don't know.
Being there.
Yeah.
Anyway, another cool deal we did here in Hamilton. Actually, we did our first subject to deal in Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if people out there don't know what a subject to is,
you can buy a property subject to the existing loan of the property. Now, it's not very common in Canada, especially now. It is very common in the U.S. People do this all the time. And to put in perspective of why somebody would do this, in the U.S. you can get a 30-year fixed mortgage. So imagine people in 2021, maybe early 2022, before the interest rates really spiked up. You could buy, you buy a house, 30-year fixed mortgage at 2.1%. And so that's why now you're seeing property values creeping up in certain areas where people don't want to leave, so there's lack of inventory. I'm retracting though. In a situation where somebody needs to sell a property where the property value has decreased since their original purchase price. So round numbers.
They're underwater.
Yeah, they're underwater. You bought for $250. Now interest rates are sitting at 7%. So the new person who's going to buy your place it's not worth $250. It's worth $220. So now you're out of pocket $30,000 for round numbers. That will cause you not to sell in some cases, because where are you going to come up with that money? You can sell that property subject to your mortgage. So the existing seller keeps the mortgage. You're guaranteeing the payments of it. So in the U.S., actually, banks or certain institutions will recognize that. Here in Canada, they don't, because there's a due on sale clause. Yeah. And the other component here is that our mortgages are max 5 years.
Well, they're not max 5 years. That's just the most common mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah. You can get a 30-year mortgage here. You're just going to pay out the ass.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, for a common 5-year fixed mortgage, we have it bought so that the owner's still on title. We have full 100% beneficial ownership of it. We take care of all the property taxes, the utilities. We have our own insurance on it. He's named insured on the property as well. However, we pay his existing mortgage, which is locked in right now at 2.8% till 2025. Okay. Yeah. So we end up getting this deal for a really great price for $500,000. It's a triplex in Hamilton, south of Maine.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So it's funny. I end up talking about this with everybody who comes on the show. How do you market for these properties? So if you're sitting out there in my channel, a lot of investors watching, how do they market for these properties?
It's a good question. Wholesalers are a good one.
So you buy off wholesalers?
We have bought off wholesalers, yes.
Okay.
This particular one was actually a driving for dollars.
Okay, talk about that.
So you see a property that kind of is a meh, and then you try and see if you can get a hold of the owner. It's very laborious, and this is why I find that you don't often get competition with it, because not a lot of people actually do the legwork. But anybody on our team we have a mandate that you bring 5 properties to the table every week. So you got to look, the shingles have got to be curled.
So your team is like contractors. You have a real estate team. You have admin on there.
Yeah, we have admin, Kaylee. We got obviously bird dogs from.
Are you talking Kaylee's an admin?
No, cut that out of the video. No, but it's my contractors yesterday sent me 3 for sale by owner signs out in Welland. So it's nice to have these, because if we, and that stands for any of your audience too, if they bring us a deal, we'll just pay them $1,000 if it closes. So it's a nice little bonus for a person, and it's worthwhile for us too.
Yeah.
So this one actually was a good good nab, and the buyer's super happy. The tenants that were in the property are actually just they were rough on them. So it actually worked out perfect. We're setting new expectations and making sure that the tenants obey the rules, and that's it. It's all good.
Don't play with your cup. It affects the sound, because
All right, I'm a high ADD, so ADHD maybe, whatever that is.
I think that's bullshit. You just need to lay off the fucking coffee and sugar. Yeah.
That's it too.
Yeah.
I've been doing intermittent fasting.
I can tell you're very svelte.
Yeah? Yeah, it's been like a week and a half. Hasn't kicked in yet, but
you know this is all
really,
this is all making the video, right?
It's you, Mark. I know.
Yeah.
Any chance to get a laugh, it'll be good.
100%.
Yeah, man.
All right. So you never really talk. So basically, is that your primary source? So you get wholesalers, you get driving for dollars. Is that your primary source?
We do some online marketing. Honestly, I'm not a wholesaler. I'm probably, if there's a caliber of wholesalers, like Michael Lee, very good wholesaler. Terrible wholesaler.
Yeah.
It's because I end up just wanting to close on anything I buy.
Yeah, well, of course.
You're
doing it for your own purposes, which if you're a good flipper, you want to have many different sources.
Totally.
Might be realtors, right? It might be wholesalers, but you want to have your own sources.
For sure. So we do some online marketing, but I don't compete with the pay-per-click ads or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure curious how much these guys budget on a monthly basis for
Michael Lee's over 20 grand.
There you go.
I'm
nowhere near that. So
yeah.
And nor do I have to be, but I'd say from a distribution, our online leads are maybe 5 to 10% total. And that's okay. It kind of trickles in 1 or 2.
Well, okay. So I asked Michael this. How many leads do you need to get before you get a deal?
Oh, that's a good question. It depends on what we call a qualified lead, because you get a lot of leads that are people like, hey, I want to sell my house for $1 million. Fair market value is $700,000.
I mean, that's.
Is that a lead? Are you calling that a lead?
Or it's somebody who's calling who's interested in selling.
Okay. Well, I would say you're probably about 20.
20. Okay. So out of 100, he's hoping to get 1 or 2, maybe 3 deals. Mm-hmm. So it's like real estate. If I do online leads as a real estate agent, I'm hoping to get closed 2 deals out of that.
Yep.
If I got a 2% to close, I'm super happy.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking because you're not advertising like they are, mm-hmm. and you're more purposeful around the door knocking or hanging your flyer or doing a post-it note or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And the cheapest house that you bought in Hamilton, that video, that's what you did.
Yeah.
You saw it on news. Mm-hmm. Figured out where the house was, left your card there, said, I'll buy your house. I'll take care of all your troubles.
The guy called me an hour later, showed up at our office, deal done.
Yeah. Are you still in that office in the shitty area of Hamilton?
Yeah. I love that area. Take that back.
Well,
take that back.
It's still shitty.
I love that area.
I love it too. I'm not saying I'm not saying you can't love shitty things. All right. Anything else you want to impart? Any wisdom you want to impart on the masses? All 100 people that watch this show?
Well, I would say don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
Smarter words have never been said by Alex Powell.
And what's your best resource? Being resourceful. That's another one of my favorites.
We can cut that one out.
Well,
All right.
somebody is really going to resonate with that one. I'm just telling you.